we have contact. We have liftoff. Get a little light on there. Get some tunage going. A bit of that music. And I'll just hope that PooTube doesn't know what I'm playing on the music, and I can just leave me alone. Anyway, how are we doing, folks? We're back for another round of insanity. No, this is not insanity. But I'm having some fun, so I'll just turn this down a hair. It's just kind of blasting out. So in this scene here, hold on. We've got our character here, and he's using his screaming power. So I'm gonna use this graphic device. Victorian Time Traveler is here. Welcome. Splattercat is here. Great to have my crew. It's good to have the crew here. Das ist gut, ja. How are you guys doing? What's new in your world? Anything interesting? I just had a work day. Nothing really exciting to report. I guess what goes on is just one's internal dialogue, you know. How can one improve one's life? Doing well, just killing some time with some gaming since I have nothing to do today. You know, I was just talking to my son about gaming. Like, I never had the time for it. It looks like a blast, and it'd be like such a fun rabbit hole to go down and all that, you know. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot, you know. There's just so many cool things going on in the gaming world, you know. But, there you go. So I'm in a bit more of a contemplative mood today. Not so much like the political shitlord Donald, but more like the Pink Floyd Donald. You know? I had a good workout today. I gotta say, some of my old injuries are coming back, if you will, meaning like I think as you get older, when you have injuries from martial arts, they're persistent. They kind of come back and remind you that they're there. And, you know, so you're like, wait, what? You mean I can't be young forever? What? What are you talking about? I didn't sign up for this. So, like, you know, this and that. So I did go dancing, you know, Saturday night, and I usually go pretty hard when I go dancing. Like, I'll really kick it, you know. Depending on, of course, the crowd and the music and stuff. But I had such a great time. I was in one of these moods where I'm like, do I really want to go out? And, you know, it's like trying to talk myself out of it, which is not obviously that good, right? You know. But a friend of mine, like, posted something about one of the clubs that I usually go to, and like how the music, what's going on there and this and that. And I figured, oh, well, you know, if he posted there, then he must be there, you know, and the music is going to be good. I know at least one of the DJs, something. And so I was like, all right. You know, I just kind of picked it up and got out of that slump, and got my ass into the driver's seat and went dancing. So it was nice. I danced with some really beautiful lovelies, and to me, dancing is all about the ladies. I mean, it's fun hanging out with the dudes. The music is killer, but I got a vibe with the ladies. So there's this one girl there. She's adopted, but she's originally from Russia. And yeah, so like I've been kind of getting to know her and talking and talking, talking. And she shows up and she sees me and she just throws her arms around me and like gave me this really like awkwardly long hug. Sort of like, when someone hugs you for a long time and you squeeze and you feel so good, and then you kind of let go a little, and but they keep hanging on, and you're like, but that's obviously a great thing. So we did a little sexy dance together and flirty, flirty. So that kind of, brought me back from, you know, the dead, so to speak, and felt really good. It's stuff like that kind of helps, makes me feel good. It feels good when people want to hug you and are happy to see you and do the sexy dance thing with the girls and all the flirty, flirty. It makes me feel good. Anyway, let's read some comments here. Splattercat says, messed up a rotator cuff on my right shoulder. Dude, that hurts like hell. And it's not until you damage something like a joint specifically that you realize how much you need it and how much you use it. I actually injured my shoulder, I don't know, about a month ago or something, and I've been nursing it back because with my kung fu, shoulders are freaking super. I mean, they're important obviously for anything, but specifically for the techniques that I do, they're really important. So it's finally getting back to a good place. Let's see, arthritis in my hip from years of martial arts. You too. Dude, talk to me, man. What martial arts do you do? Flash Gorgon is here. Saturday. That's my best boy right there. I wish I could visit you, bud. I'm just dying to jump on an airplane and come visit you, man. I mean, if I do, though, I'm going to be staying in your country for a while. Like, learning the language long, you know what I mean? Get those old dreams going where I get to finally reconnect with my European culture and heritage and all that. European martial arts, specifically Renaissance German. That's, I mean, coming, I don't know how to say, but like that is like so cool, because like most people don't do European martial arts. Like, what are European martial arts, So like it's sick that you do that, and I think it's extremely impressive. I've seen books on it. I've seen, there's this one site I found about Irish shillelagh martial arts where they use the shillelagh stick. Let's visit Europe or Asia. Ringen, basically German hand-to-hand and grappling. Fascinating. Gondorian American. Hey, welcome back, bud. Good to have you. There's Viking grappling. See, how come I just don't, I mean, I know about like fencing and stuff, it's like not really, I mean, it's obviously martial art in its own way, but, of course, there's, Greco-Roman wrestling. That's like a thing. And anyway, I did find this, what do you call it? It was like a manual on German sword fighting. And I think someone gave it to me, actually. And I was pretty impressed, actually. The way that they use the sword is in a way similar to the way the Chinese use the staff. It's not just like swing, slash, slash. They use it. There's just all kinds of uses that they have that you wouldn't normally think of, which is really cool. I think that's pretty neat. But I need to look at my little reference material here. Anyway, have you heard of historical European martial arts? It's mostly sword fighting and other medieval weaponry. Only as much as like what you see in like Renaissance fairs, you know what I mean? Like those kind of environments. Unfortunately, I can't really speak beyond that, I guess. But yeah, I'm a technique guy. Everything's about technique. You know, like what is the technique involved? That would be something that I would want to know. You know, I like the breakdown of those kinds of things. I find that very fascinating. HEMA, yeah, we were part of it before we got weird. ARMA came before, so you'd have to enlighten us on that stuff. But it does sound pretty cool. Das ist gut, ja. Yeah, I'm basically in my kind of my winter slump, you know. It's like whatever. Just it's just the winter, you know. But I'm kind of already thinking about sparring in the spring. I'm kind of I love the buddy that I spar with, but it's like I know all his moves and I'm really kind of tired of it. I really need something new. I need to find somebody new to spar with different skill sets. You know, it's a you want to be challenged. You know, that's so there it is. Anyway, you get the idea from that. So. I guess I'll have to try to start putting the word out or something at some point here. I'm going to be starting some freelance work soonish, doing some web work. What else do I got? It's always tied down, man. It's just you come home and you're burned out, but like that's the time when you gotta shine, you know? Like, okay, after you spent all your energy, come home and kick ass, you know? Let's see. There's Bartitsu. I never heard of that. The martial art practiced by Sherlock Holmes. No kidding, I never heard of that. Splattercat, how do you... With a cane, yes. Got really woke. Oh, okay. Then they started adding in tournaments and other things that weren't part of the source materials. I get it. We were sticklers for the source manuals. As you should be, as you should be. Gondorian says, it's not European, but I have a Japanese wooden practice sword, Boken. I think you were talking about that on a previous stream. Probably repeating myself, but I finally found like a channel that not explains, but shows the actual use of like a lot of karate katas. And for the longest time, I just couldn't read it. Like, how is this used, all that kind of thing. And so it's nice to have respect for it, you know, and feel like, wow, yeah, this is good stuff, you know. What else? Lacan is French, cane fighting, very fun, very effective, that's cool. So, Savate is French boxing, kickboxing, I should say. And as it turns out, there's this dude, I don't know what country he's from, he sounds like he might be from Germany or some of the northern European countries. I can't place his accent, but he is a big karate guy, and he did a history of karate explaining that originally it had no kicks. And then like the whole world of like tournament fighting and like martial arts popularity exploded in, well, I don't know the dates, I can't give you that precisely, but he was talking about how karate got its kicks from Savat. And that is a very, very controversial thing to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he seems to have the evidence for it. It's not impossible. Like, if you think, you know, the Japanese are very good at amalgamating Western things, technology, and this and that, what have you. As he explains it, it was just a kind of a way of making karate more like competitive in this world of like martial arts marketing and all that, or the market of martial arts, I should say, in its time. I've always found it annoying how little representation or understanding there is for kung fu. That the way the Chinese came into America is different, you know, because of course we fought Japan, and you know, we had soldiers stationed over there and bases and this and that, and so there's just like so little understanding of or respect for kung fu in general, I find. You know. But whatever, you know, it's not really my cross to bear. But I had a lot of fun just working out on the bag. It's not like the bag. It's like one of these stand-up. It's a punching bag, but it has like water at the bottom of it that holds it still, you know, and you can walk around it, you know. And so I combine Bagua footwork. Have you guys ever heard of Bagua? Do you know what that is? It's kind of a circular stepping pattern with long fist and Wing Chun. So it's, I mean, try to imagine a car that has like, you know, the body of this and an engine of that and the wheels of the other thing, you know. It's like, it's, you know, there's no martial art that looks like it, you know, because I combine those things. So anyway, hoping to practice outside in my backyard when the weather warms. Yes, Victorian says, hanging upside down helps with my sports injuries. Wow, wow, that's great, dude. That's wonderful. What a wonderful idea. I didn't think about that. Holy shit, you are amazing. I'm back. I could probably just move this up here and maybe back out a little bit. Decompression, right. There's special types of stretches that I've learned in Kung Fu that are really, really great for decompression. And I just do them just kind of, not daily, but I do them as like an ordinary thing, you know. And yeah, I'm gonna be really honest with you. It's like I it's been through a lot of shit going on in their life, and you know, less and less time for working out, and so it's like I'm getting out of the slump now. There's this whole other thing of like, it's for me, a typical kung fu workout starts off with qigong meditation, which is coupled with prayer, and it's my own. It's kind of a unique, just like everything else about me. It's like a unique concoction. And what that does in two ways is it gets the mind to a place where it needs to be. Takes all the noise out of your head, kind of thing. But then also creates a, especially with the mantra and these things, it creates kind of a sacred space out of the workout, you know. And then with that, it's like you're doing house cleaning for your soul, if that makes sense. And like I need a lot of that right now. I've had a lot of abuse and problems in the past 2 years. Well, more than that, past fucking 20 years. But and so this is it starts off like that, and then it'll head into, you know, more sophisticated kind of qigong, which just is more about fabricating chi energy, like generating chi energy, and then pushing it around your body to specific places that help with general circulation, general health. But when you combine that with mantra and the intention for spiritual growth, it has a type of an alchemy to it that is very powerful and very helpful. The thing about these practices is it's like, I compare it to dieting, where like if you stop doing it, you lose the benefit of it. You don't just do it a couple times and then like, oh my God, I'm a Buddha, you know? It's just like, it's not that way. Life is an ever flowing shit show of chaos. And so like if you've got to keep up on it, you know? There's just, of course, so many different factors at play. So, and I kind of fell out of it for quite a while, and so it feels so refreshing to get back. It seems like discipline and consistency are like the rope that you pull yourself out of hell with. You know what I mean? It's like you just like spin the days together. You twine the hours together into this rope that you know you kind of throw that out the darkness and yank yourself up, you know, out of the darkness into the light. And that's pretty much what I'm doing at the moment. I find it so contradictory how, in a sense, you're supposed to have, you know, like positive thinking while you're going through shit. You know, it's like sort of you're gaslighting yourself. I mean, in a positive way, weirdly, right? It's weird, you know, but it is real and it does really help. You know, a lot of times if you can't gaslight yourself in that way, and I know that sounds facetious, what you can do at least is be grateful and count your blessings and think in terms of like, you know what, this sucks, whatever this is, but it doesn't suck as much as that time that other thing happened. Or think about, you know, people who are going through XYZ PDQ, or how bad would it be right now if my car broke down on top of everything? Or, you know, thank God, you know, the person I love is healthy and alive. And you know what I'm saying? You got to gather up the good news, so to speak, you know, and counteract the demons, if you will, you know. Yeah. So then it's back to the kung fu stuff. Well, of course, I forgot to add in the stretching. There's like a fairly rigorous amount of stretching that goes into this. And then, you know, there's just kind of like certain routines that I'll do that are, you know, your basic walking, striking, footwork combined with block, punch, kick type this and that. There's many combos, many combos. And so depending on what my mood is and how I'm feeling or whatever, I'll hit up certain types of combos, you know. One thing I'm working on is getting back to the development of what you could call whirlwind power. So a whirlwind is a centrifugal force. It's a centrifugal force. So so like think of if you have like a ball on a rope and you swing it around. How do I put it? Like, okay, let's say you got a ball on a rope at the end of a stick, and you spin it around. As the ball wraps around the stick, it gets faster and faster as it goes into the center, and that is centrifugal force. And again, as you pull it in, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So there's ways in kung fu to generate that kind of force. It's a type of physics, and so you can do it going in or coming out. In fact, you should do both. I think if you're left-handed or right-handed, there's a certain type of favoritism you might have towards the shapes of those things that you make. But it's very cool. It's very, very cool stuff. It doesn't look like anything you've ever seen. Like you're not gonna see this like in movies, and well, Chinese movies they're gonna see it in, but it's just not common. A lot of it is because it's internal. So you may have heard of internal and external, like in Kung Fu. Those are really important words. External would be something like, weightlifting and push-ups and doing things that give you physical power, like making your bones strong, making your fists like, real like filled up with calluses and these kinds of things. That's external. So internal is similar to what I was just talking about. Only true internal combines qi with that. So if you're using, say, for example, the centrifugal force, but it has like electromagnetic energy inside it. It's fucking retarded. It's like crazy retarded. It's very, very, very powerful stuff. And it just feels fun. I don't know. Like for me, it's just like it feels really good. It feels right. It's kind of like my thing, sort of, or whatever. I have like how I look at it is like living Taoism. Like if you read anything about Taoist philosophy, it's the actual harnessing of the Tao in your movements, which is where philosophy meets martial arts. Pretty cool stuff. And that I could go on and on. I could talk a lot about that. Victorian says my main injuries are low back and knees. Fuck, man. Any injury sucks. But knees are and back. I mean, that's everything, right? Your knees and your back, your hips. So, excuse me. So here's the deal, though. And I don't know how much you can do it, or even how much I can do it per se. But I think that we have to, I don't know, evolve or change, modify our martial arts according to our injuries and our age. If you look at, 80-year-old kung fu teachers, they don't move like the 20-year-old ones, You have to change. You have to flow in some way. You've got to figure out how does this work, in such a way that I can continue using this. It's a little scary in the sense of like, you feel like, fuck, man, I'm losing my skills because of these damn injuries. See, this is another thing. This is why I'm very fucking strict about sparring, not injuring each other in sparring. Like I've had people, that sort of want to spar, but they don't, like, how do I say, like, they put gloves and gear on and then they go 100% full throttle. And then that's basically fighting, that's not sparring. And I try to explain to them that's not sparring, and the chances of you getting injured are really high, and that's the opposite of martial arts. And then since they've never done it or they don't know how to do it, or it might not be the convention in their school or something, instead of trying to understand what I'm telling them, they'll just say, "Oh, you're full of shit," "Oh, you're a pussy" or something, which is like such a meathead thing to do. It's like, it's tiresome. Think of it like jamming with some musicians. You all have your instruments, and you're hanging out, and you're jamming. You're working together in such a way as to improve your improvisational skills. And some dudes like MMA dudes would think, "Oh, that's gay," and they're not gonna. Oh, that's fine. Go back to injuring yourself so that you can feel tough and work through your father issues or whatever it is. But I don't know. I probably shouldn't complain about that stuff. Everybody's got their own way, you know. I'm really nobody to tell you what's the best way. I know what's the best way for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just looking for people who want to do the same. So we'll see if I find them, though. That's pretty hard to do. Yeah, here's the theory. If, let's say, we're both going at it, throwing techniques at each other, you know, moving around, you know, and if I'm good enough to throw a technique that hits you, then do I need to do it at full blast, 100 miles an hour? If I'm good enough to get it past your defenses, I'm good enough to do it at 100 miles an hour. Do you get my point? So it's about control. It's about finesse. And like there's a philosophy of like killer instinct. Like you're supposed to get yourself mentally worked up in such a way as to be like, like, I'm gonna kill you, man. I'm gonna kill you. Rah! That kind of like crazy killer mentality. And I'm quite sure that that is good. That's not a bad thing. But I just don't think it's the only thing. And if all your training is that, then according to my thinking, you're training to freak out. You're not training to be calm. And I think that when you're in the most dangerous situations, you need your wits about you. You should be calm. You shouldn't be flipping out. So that's why I'm not for the berserker method of martial arts training. I think it sells well. I think people look badass when they're like, you gotta have killer instinct, blah, 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 blah. Look at me. You know. Yeah, there's a lot of, I don't know, there's just a lot of people, a lot of disagreements in the martial arts, I guess, put it that way. Make that a little thicker. Let's see what you got to say. Yo, what up, man? Joe Mama's here. Good to have you here, bud. You train to become controlled dangerous. That's exactly it. So, you're naturally going to freak out. If you're really, really your life is in danger, you're biologically, you're already going to be freaked out. You know what I'm saying? And so my approach is to try to get myself in a state of fight or flight, in a state of fear, and then remain in it as long as I can, while being really, really good. Like trying to be creative in the moment with whatever the opponent is offering me, because that's another thing that kind of I've never bought into, is like the routines of, like, technique 5-6B, where, like, when someone grabs your shoulder, you do blah 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 blah, A B C D E F G 9 10 7 8 X Y Z P D Q. I'm like, to me that's so unnatural. Like, that's not, I mean, it's good to know techniques that have a sequence and it's all goody goody, but reality isn't like that. I think that things just they fly out at you, and you have to be kind of like, you've got to be able to handle it spontaneous. So, I guarantee there's somebody that's got a system that works and that works really well for them, and that's cool. But it's just not my way. Like, I've never ever, and I'll never be a guy that, like, paints by numbers, if you know what I mean. Like, I just don't work that way. I'm improvisational, if that makes sense. So my martial arts has to be that way too, you know. Training makes for optimal. Hey, T-Rad Dad's here. Performance when confronted IRL helps see natural openings when in a heated moment. Yes. It's just so hard to explain. Unless you're doing it, it's just really hard to get it. And, when you're, I mean, I think theoretically you can get it. I probably shouldn't say you can't get it. But you might, let's say, here's an example. So, you know, Joe, martial arts student, he goes to school at X school and he learns, by the book, do this, that, and the other thing in this order, in this situation. And he rehearses it like 500 times. And he's really, really good at doing that thing in that order under those kind of controlled circumstances. And his teacher gives him praise and he feels really confident. And then he's going home, and somebody on the subway unexpectedly just pulls some shit on him, and bang, it's on. So, like, you've got muscle memory, I guess. You've got that kind of like, well, I've done this so many times, this should just like come out of me naturally. That definitely is true. That happens. There's a truth to that. But here's the problem. The assailant can move. He can change. Something didn't go quite right. I started the technique, but something happened, and he moved in such a way that he was out of range, and now I can't reach him, and he's coming back at me. And but all I have is this like routine that I've been doing, and I don't know how to handle the changes spontaneously. That's what I'm getting at here. So, like, learn the techniques, that's cool, but be able to be creative. That's it. That's it. There's nothing more to it. It's very simple. It's not brain surgery. What do we got? Nut X Nut is here. Hi, ooh woo. Hey, you're feeling nutty tonight, aren't you? Techniques are fine, but fundamentals are what are most important. So, you're opening up a really good discussion with that, like fundamentals. So that brings me back. In my case, hold on. Let me get some tunes on here. 10,000 commercials. I'm sorry. Hang on a sec. So I was just talking about that centrifugal force. Like practicing techniques that generate centrifugal force, and then with that, I then kind of like apply it into techniques. So you could have, whatever, just some kind of basic shuffle block punch type combo, and that's kind of fine, but it's sterile. If you do the same thing with this centrifugal force, now you're like a fucking hurricane, and it's like noticeably different. Noticeably different. It looks different, it feels different, it is different, So I try, I'll spend time sort of kind of running through like, okay, does this work? How would this look? Does that work? Is this effective? So there you go. The centrifugal force is found in the Dragon style, but not exclusively. Crane has it. You could say to some extent Snake has it, but not. I don't think it's nearly as powerful. It's definitely, you're going to see it definitely in Bagua. So Bagua is part of the Taoist martial arts family, which includes Tai Chi and Xing Yi. And I know a little Xing Yi. It's really nice. It's just handy. It's like meat and potatoes kung fu. I don't mean that as like to belittle it. Like, you would never want to fuck with the guy who's good at Xing Yi. Like, he won't wake up, like that kind of deal. I did actually spar with a Xing Yi guy from Beijing for a while when he lived in my city. And that was interesting. It was neat, to experience that, because it's like, wow, this is a really different system, and like the way that he moves, it challenges you to figure out different ways to defend yourself, different ways to counter. The problem with him, though, is he had a massive, massive ego, a massive chip on his shoulder. Like, he couldn't accept the fact that like a gaijin or a Waiguoren could beat him, or something, and he would get really angry at you if you hit him, or something like that. And then he'd lose his cool, and then he'd start really like cooking, and we had to kind of get back to the whole like, whoa, cool down. This is, we're trying to train here, relax, and we're friends here, guys. Cool down, Anyway, my heart goes out to you. Hey, Hippocratic Oath is here, sending his heart out to all of us. How absolutely marvelous. Yeah, the Musk thing seems to have died down. The next thing is his comments in Germany. Today is like International Holocaust Remembrance Day. When I heard that on the radio, I like cackled. I was like, like, oh, come on, instituting an international. Like, this must be an international. Every country in the world must bow and kiss our feet, because after all, it's Noahide law. But yeah, so Elon Musk was making some kind of comments in Germany. I don't know the exact. I think it was like an ADF political rally or something like that, maybe. And he was just saying something to the effect of like, enough guilt. Germans should be proud of being German, and it's a wonderful thing, and you need to like move on or let go of the guilt, this and that. And it's crazy how like that needs to be said or something, and that like somehow saying that is controversial, which is fucking crazy. But then knowing that Elon is really trying to gain our trust, and that he's actually working with the who's makes it kind of diabolical. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird because it's good to hear. It's nice to hear, but then it feels like, is this some kind of fuckery? Like, what kind of fuckery is this? Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not filled with gems of wisdom tonight, guys. I just a little on the tired side. Gems of wisdom. Here's something interesting. There is a guy I discovered on Twitter. Excuse me. He's a political cartoonist, and his character is called America Man. So I just found out about him today, and the comic strip that I was shown was very, frankly, inappropriate for like Twitter and mainstream social media. Like he definitely crossed a line, like very definitely. And I mean, our guys can kind of laugh at it, I guess all I'm going to tell you is look up America Man on Twitter and you will understand what I mean. So I actually had the idea of maybe asking him on my show. Grab a little lemon water here. Hold on a second. Lemon. Anyway, but again, like when you're like making fun of killing people or something like that, that does cross a line. So I don't know if that's quite what I'm going for, I don't know, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm the bad person. Let's see if there's any interesting comments here. No, you guys are pretty quiet out there. You want me to, what do you want? Tell some stories? Should I tell some stories? That could be good. Sort of like, I don't know, early childhood, elementary school, junior high, high school, college, master's degree, Asia, Japan, Taiwan, New York City. These are different times in my life. You know what? I really have to get the pencil out and work out a couple pencil details on this. Talk about sort of like the history of my music and becoming a musician, all the people I've known through that period. Let's hear that deep Donald Kent lore. Whoa, which one though? There's some that is definitely not for YouTube, but I could talk about my 8th grade English teacher who seduced me and had an affair with her. Would that be? No, maybe that's inappropriate. Maybe I shouldn't do that one. What else? Something light. Come on, Don. Light. Easy, fun. Come on. Yes, let's hear that one. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, would that come back to bite me? You know what I mean? Would I get in trouble for telling that story? I mean, I'm the victim, not, you know what I mean, in the sense of like that legally is called statutory rape, So like, should I be guilty it's tricky stuff because I mean, I wasn't I was willing. I was a willing participant in it. I was like, it was my first love, What I can say is that people at that age are not emotionally mature for that, and that in the long run it does a great deal of harm. So that I can say, you know. In my particular case, growing up in a devout Catholic family made it like compounded the agony or stress or whatever that came from that experience, because I'm, sinning, in the mind of my Catholic mind. And but it's like every young guy is, especially if you could see how amazingly beautiful she was, like, every single guy in the world would be like, oh dude, you're awesome, like I would kill to have that experience, but I'm not I wasn't ready for it, and it wasn't appropriate, you know what I'm saying? So it's just hard to talk about. I have thought, like, because I do want to write a biography one of these days, and I did have this idea of, like, dedicating a whole chapter to it, but really, really, really letting go, like letting it all out, like, from the perspective of a 14-year-old eighth grader, in this kind of like, you know, American dream, upper middle class suburb, and all that goes with that. Being in a devout Catholic family, but then, this woman was 29, I was 14, she was married with a child. So that's pretty, not cool. And of course, at 14, you're really just nothing but hormones, You're not, you're not, I don't think any 14-year-old boy is capable of controlling himself in a situation like this, Um, and so, like, it was very, very, very off the charts exciting in the beginning. It was a big secret, and I wasn't good at keeping secrets. I mean, no kid is. Every kid's got a big mouth, and that actually kind of ruined it in the end. But I say ruined it. I don't know. Like, did I dodge a bullet? Like, I mean, there's all kinds of things that could have gone, like, horribly, horribly wrong. It's just, I don't know how to put it. It's kind of like there's a sort of instinct to be like, wow, cool, that's so wow, crazy, haha, something, something. But then there's the darker side of it, you know what I'm saying? Which is, again, the emotional. I don't want to call it abuse, because, again, I was, a willing participant. But here's an interesting angle to the whole thing. So this relationship is happening secretly. I'm having, like, massive conflicts because I went to confession at church, and I told the priest I was doing this. He wanted to know who it was, and I wouldn't tell him, because I knew she'd get in trouble, you know. Um, but what else? Where am I going with this? So here's the thing. The summer between 8th grade and 9th grade, my father has a massive heart attack. He dies. They bring him back to life with a fibrillator, and then now he's, like, living on a thread where they say, okay, you're not going to make it through the weekend. And then the weekend would pass, and then it was, you're not going to make it until next week. And then the next week would pass, and then, okay, you got a month. And then you got 2 months, and now you got 3 months. And that went on for 4 fucking years. And the light in my house just blinked, which usually means that I've got a ghost in here. That was very interesting. My dad might be listening. I don't know if he wants me to talk about this. Well, I'll just say that like I lost my mind. I lost my mind. You know, I was like naturally was absolutely terrified. You know, crying uncontrollably. And I called her and told her what happened. And instead of getting the support that I thought she would give me, she backed out. And because you can probably imagine from her point of view, like I've gone like completely off the rails. I'm totally unstable, and that's a danger to her, you know. But then there's also the angle of like, oh well, you're not fun anymore. My little plaything, my little toy, my little puppy. You know, you're not cute anymore because you have these serious fucking problems that are really really serious. And so all of ninth grade was me trying to kind of get her back and her slowly pushing me away for a whole year. I mean, because she's just like, she's got to get through the year with me, like blubbering over her publicly in high school, and like she had told me like other teachers were coming to her and saying like, what's going on between you and this student, and I at the time I was like part of the poetry magazine in the school, and I'm writing and submitting and publishing poems about how I feel about her to the whole freaking school, and thinking it, I don't know, 15 years old, like it's secret, but like you're not smart enough to hide it at that age. So that made it even worse in terms of like, she couldn't. She's like, the way you're talking and what you're doing is putting me in danger. I could go to jail for this. I could lose my child. Like, blah 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 blah, and So the whole, the combination of my dad dying and then me losing that relationship at the same time was enough to make me like borderline suicidal, because it just was way, way, way too much for a teenage boy to handle, emotionally. And that's that, man. I mean, it's so like these are some fucking heavy things going on. And so if I seem like kind of a serious guy, maybe you know why. That's just the beginning of like the millions of fucking tragedies in my life. I don't know why there's so much goddamn tragedy in my life. It's like, does this happen to everybody? Or just me? Like, am I special? It's like, what the fuck? Oh, story time. Yeah, my channel. Hey, do what? Just change the name to Susan or something. Oh, well, I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, dirty stuff. Her life is tragic and stupid. Yes, I agree. But also beautiful and marvelous in its own way. So, it's my senior year. I'm much more filled out, and I'm like, 18, and you know, you know, I've had girlfriends, and I'm like, I'm older. I'm about to head off to college, and one day the phone rings, and I just know it intuitively. I don't know if it's a psychic thing or just fucking who knows, but I just knew it was her, and I picked up the phone, cautiously said hello, and then of course I heard her voice. It's a very, very sexy voice, very, very sexy voice. If you want to envision what she looked like, I'll give you a little something here. There was an actress, I don't know, I think this would be like in the 80s. Her name was Tanya Roberts. So if you look up Tanya Roberts on like Google her or something, imagine her with white hair, like Scandinavian white hair, that was extremely close to what this woman looked like. So anyway, I hear her voice, and at the time, I was kind of wasn't really seeing this girl, but I had this girl who was a friend of mine, but it was kind of quirky, romantic kind of friendship thingy that we had going on. And stupidly, like a stupid young man, I told her about it, that, Susan called and wanted to see if we could get back together. And she was divorced, and, we could make it work, something like that. So I figure 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, like she's like 32-ish. You get the idea. And the girl, the friend girl that I told, like totally cock blocked it. She was like, she just like, again, I'm 18. I'm very naive. I'm very innocent. I'm very pure. I don't understand. I'm not an adult. I don't, whatever. So I just kind of, closed it out at that point. So years later, I'm doing some freelance work for a friend of mine who is a guy I went to high school. And we're adults, at this point. This is actually like after my divorce, in fact. And we're just shooting the shit, talking about old times, high school stuff. Oh, remember that teacher? Remember that teacher? Remember that? That's that. Blah blah blah. And somehow her name came up, and then I mentioned to him. Well, anyway, he told me that he was like, oh yeah, she was really weird because, my buddies and I, we would go down to the creek, and where there's a swimming hole, and like, it's just a commonly known place to go swimming at this creek in where I live. And he said she'd be down there in a bikini with a 6-pack of beer and just like hanging out with the boys. And then when he told me that, it made me realize like she's like a serial pedophile, basically. Like she's like, I thought I was special. I thought I was the one. But she had been doing this probably for years. Who knows? So I got a pretty sick feeling in my stomach when I heard that. I really did. So like the abuse of the situation continues in that regard. You can't, I don't sit around like, crying in my soup about this stuff. I mean, there was some really amazing, beautiful experiences I had with her. And I don't hate her. I feel used. I feel uncomfortable about it. I don't go around bragging about it. Certainly not something to do like that. But I think, I don't know if this is true, but I have a kind of a feeling like the damage that came from it. Tanya Roberts, yeah, It's a Trap, right? Exactly. That's the actress I'm talking about. Let me kind of check some of the chat here. Life to the boomers made it worse, but it was already pretty terrible. He got the call. I see the appeal. Tanya Roberts. It's a trap. Da, da, da. Turns out, years later, as I'm in the movement and I'm researching various things, that, like, how they're always trying to paint it like, Catholic priests are the number one pedophiles, da da da. And it's actually not. It's teachers. The teachers have like way, way, way more instances of inappropriate relationships with minors. Way, way more. The school that I quit, I think you guys know I was a teacher. I kind of ran into one of my old teacher friends from the school. And I'm like, so what's going on? Are you still working there? How, blah, 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 whatever, just small talk. And then she went on to tell me about, how this teacher was caught having an affair with the student. And just the whole school got a really bad reputation, this, that, that. And I mean, it's sickening, but it's not surprising, though. You know what I'm saying? I never know how to talk about it. It's like, it's just weird. It feels creepy. It's not something I want to be known for. I don't feel like I'm branded by it or something. It's not like you know, like I'm super damaged by. I did have like profound pain at the time that the thing was falling apart. I mean, it was very, very, very bad. But you gotta consider the weight of, like, my father was dying at the same time too. Um, Okay, Flash says, I've had many stuff that seemed like the end of life at the time. Now, in retrospective, they seem like highlights of my story. So, you know, I think when you're young, you feel like it's the whole world. Your whole world is coming apart. And then as you get older, you just somehow or other you kind of chill out, or you just get older. I don't know, and you're not as like devastated by these things. I'm glad I didn't take my life, as a young man, because I couldn't cope with all these things. I don't know if this is good or bad, but like Pink Floyd was like a big go-to for me at that age. Like I don't know, there's something about the music and the band that I attached myself to. I think a lot of it being, you know, these the themes, the kind of overly emotional aspect of it that was me at that time as a young man. While other people are going, listening to fun music, I'm listening to depressing music. Um, Whatever. I'm listening to Shine On You Crazy Diamond. You guys can't hear it, I have it too low. But Flash says the real creepy part is when she comes with the bikini and the six pack. Yeah. Comfortably Numb. Jilly is here. Comfortably Numb is on the wall. This, I can fast forward it a little bit here. The intro is like super long. But yeah, Jilly, do you like Pink Floyd? So the one of the side effects of having been in that relationship is that it was so unimaginably overstimulating that normal kind of relationships after that were always kind of not enough. And I think that's probably why I was so promiscuous when I was young, is that I think I kind of wanted to get that same thrill, that same excitement or something. And I think that has damaging attributes to it. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Year of the Snake starts Wednesday. Interesting. Uh, because February. Yeah, it's Chinese New Year. Oh, so this guy. Year of the Snake. I'm gonna have to look that up to see like what are the attributes of that. That should be interesting. I don't know, man. Things are pretty wild with Trump right now. I mean, I'm not getting all on the Trump wagon thing, but yeah, there's some good things, that we can enjoy. Let's read here a little bit. I like that particular song. Good. My channel says like Master Shake. I just realized his name might be a play on Master Bait. Oh, come on. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I sort of like The Wall came out, and see, you got to realize this is also a time in my life when I was learning to play bass guitar, play acoustic guitar. I was, my dream was to be a rock star, and you know, I don't know. There's just something about Pink Floyd and Roger Waters' dad died in World War II, and it was like an obsession in his music. And my dad hadn't died yet, but I was living in the fear of that all the time, every day. Try to imagine coming home from school every day, thinking, is this the day that, like, am I going to find him laying on the floor? Is my mom going to say, he passed away today while you were at school? And this was a real thing that I lived with for 4 years, and it had a profound toll on me mentally. And because there's just been so many times in my life when people kind of look at me sideways and they're kind of like, can't you just be normal? Haven't you just tried to be normal? Can't you just be like everybody else? Cheer up. And it's like, try that. You wouldn't survive a day in my life. You wouldn't. But anyway, some big tweeter guy just called to deport Selena Gomez. That's funny. Isn't Selena Gomez already uh, homand? I don't know what homand means, but anyway. She's born in USA. Deport her whole family. Yeah, this is a big topic right now. Yeah, there's interesting. We'll see how that goes. Oh my gosh. We shall see. I have there was a, oh my god, check this out. Dr. Phil, of all people, has a clip out right now. I mean, many of you might have seen it, in fact, where he's with like some ICE agents, and they've like handcuffed a bunch of illegals, and he's standing there talking to one of them, who turns out has like a history of like just like raping children, basically. Da 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 something something, and they're talking, and Dr. Phil has this kind of like really stupid like, do you realize what you're doing? Are you gonna change yourself? And like, there's some kind of fucking answer to this. Like, no, he's born that way, And but the point I'm making is that it's good to see that it's like it's pushing into the mainstream. If it's on fucking Dr. Phil, that's mainstream. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. That's a good thing. I feel like we in the white identity movement are so burned out by now that we're not recognizing that actually this is probably the most prime time ever to like get out there and try to make an impact. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's funny because I'm tired too. I'm kind of at the end of my rope with a lot of stuff, but we carry on. Let's see. Now he's a health. Now hold on. Let me read what we're talking about here. So, enemy combatant, cat. Now that's a healthy question. Don't you think this whole Trump reboot looks like the television of the Iraq War? Retard boogaloo. So, yeah, the branding of like America's golden age is beginning. Has a, I mean, I've yet to see really what that is. What golden age? According to who? Like, you know, under Reagan? Is that what we're shooting for? You know what I mean? Like, I don't quite know yet how he plans to like show that per se. Some things I find interesting, and I'm not sure 100% how I feel about them yet, but is this sense of empire that Trump seems to be pushing towards, which is like the acquisition of Greenland and Canada, and I think he even might have said Australia. I mean, I saw that somewhere. I know most people think that's wackadoo, and that's fine. You know, I mean, these are just things that I've heard. So I guess time will tell. That's all I gotta say. Um, One thing, the sense that I get about Trump is he's very anti-war. So I haven't seen any signals for that per se, and I think that's good. I'm happy about that. I like that he wants to end the Ukraine war. He seems to think that he's got a way to do that. I thought the thing about Colombia was really funny. How like Colombia was refusing to take its own illegals, and then he's like, okay, then you're gonna get tariffs, and then they're like, oh, we'll send our own planes. It's a contradiction because it's like all of the powerful Jews that are in Trump's cabinet are the ones that are about immigrant like the whole they're behind the whole thing about like flooding America with illegals and all that, and you guys know that. So then, like, how is it that Trump is going against this? What's the play? What is the play here? You know what I'm saying? Is this a show? Is this a lie? Is it a trick? Where you get where I'm going with this? I don't think I quite know yet what the full play is, so we'll see. We shall see. What is the play? It's confusing. That's what it is. Yeah. I'm trying to maintain a kind of like case by case objectivity. Where it's like, Trump did X, and it's like, oh, that's good. But then I do keep my eye out because I know a lot of savvy people. Like, so I'll give you an example. So Trump is like, okay, diversity, equity, and inclusion is over, and we're gonna be a merit-based country. Yay! Trump is so great. Yay! And then you turn around and you find out that it's being replaced by another program that goes under a different name, but has the same fucking system, which is called Bridge. So if you look up wearebridge.com, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And so which is it? Which is it? One way or the other way? What's going down here? What's going down, guys? I guess time will tell. But the gas prices will be great. If there's some more stability and we're able to, you know, catch our breath and get back on some sense of like sanity, then that's good. Okay, drink a little water. Oh, heaven. I love lemon water. The Colombian trade war that lasted 2 minutes when Colombia folded was made to look Trump look good. Yes, I think it's just a 4-year pressure release. They brought us too close to the edge. They fucking did. On the other hand, the China DeepSeek AI is free, cheaper to run, uses less energy, faster, and is more accurate than ChatGPT. It is the next TikTok. What's the name of it again? Isn't something like Red Check or something? So I have a TikTok, and I haven't really, I don't really use it. I'm trying to like, get my marketing going. I could be doing better. Yeah, I I do a lot of content, but I don't do a lot of marketing. So I'm trying to kind of get into that a bit more. Um, we'll see. I did some good marketing on Instagram today. I'm making like these little shorts with links and fun music and cool images and whatnot. So isn't that nice? Let's turn off commercials. So, I didn't tell you. Wednesday this week. Tune in Wednesday this week. A friend of mine and I are doing a David Lynch show. We're gonna have a look at some of his key films. My friend's a filmmaker, and so that's like his world. That's his passion. I'm a huge film nerd, but he's more articulate about these things, and he feels very, very affected by the death of David Lynch, and so he's a really, really close friend of mine, and so it's going to be a pretty cool show. And only like once before did I ever have like a show live out of my house with a friend who's like literally sitting with me, you know. So that should be kind of a cool vibe. Maybe we get a beer or something. I don't know. But yeah, looking forward to that. So Wednesday, probably about 8 o'clock. That's what we're shooting for. And yeah, there you go. Let's see. Little Red Book. Okay. The Little Red Book was written by a Jew. I recently found out. I keep clippings of stuff like that, but I don't know his name off the top of my head. I thought it was fascinating that like Mao didn't write it, which is pretty interesting. If you know like the history of Red China and all that. Flash says, yeah, I think the same. Also, they realize they're cutting the branch they're sitting on. They want things back in order under the lid. Is it Wolf Shield? No. It's funny because he invited me on one of his. He has like a movie night show. I misunderstood. I thought it was like more of a movie critique, a little more serious, but it's more like just friends bantering and laughing and so he does these movie shows, but they're, like I said, they're more like not serious and more just for fun. Everyone's kind of shouting out and shouting over everybody else and laughing all the time. Something I wouldn't want to do. Being Pink Floyd guy. No, but yeah, so what we're gonna do is like show some clips and then talk about it. My friend is really, I think, going to be more articulate about it than myself. Like, he's the one that has things to say, about the life and work of David Lynch. I honestly think it's a really significant event in film history, and of course in American film. I can't say that I'm like every single thing he ever did was great. I wouldn't say that. But he's clearly a man with absolute total integrity and his own voice, his own vision. He's just a really fascinating, eccentric American artist. And that's a big deal. That's somebody, that we should look at and consider, what did this guy do? It's a lot of times when people die, we don't realize things until they die, and then we start researching, like, what did this guy do in his life, And he did quite a lot. I'm personally interested in his transcendental meditation. I went, when I discovered he was into it, and I was starting to learn about it myself. I came to find out that like if you want to learn it, you have to pay like huge amounts of money. And I was like, there's no, I don't know any form of meditation where you have to pay so much money to learn it. Like, what the hell is it with transcendental meditation that it's like this kind of, I just don't like, what? Like, what's going on here? Why is it like that? And I think, I can't say 100%, but I think that it's largely to do with its popularity in like Hollywood. And that, you know, due to that, the people who teach it decided, wow, you know, we can charge thousands of dollars for this and we can make money. And that's obviously not a very, you know, there's nothing wrong with making money. It's making money is not unspiritual, but um, I don't like how exclusive it is. How it's like only rich people can do this. I think that's pretty fucked up. And that's very fucked up. It's not cool. You know, I'm not cool with that. So, um, I just don't know. I don't know what I can say about it. But anyway, yeah. So, I guess Wolf Shield's film is coming along. I guess he's got, you know, he should have something for us at some point here. Um, I don't know if you guys remember Alma Lahar. He is one of the musicians in the White Art Collective. I met him at the first White Art Collective Music Festival, and you know we've been buds, you know, for quite a while. Super cool dude, great stage presence. He's like he'd be a like a stadium rock guy, you know. His music is kind of has like a kind of a '90s flair to it, but it's hard to describe. It's kind of like an alternative hard rock, I guess. You know. Anyway, he is the lead in Wolf Shield's film, and man, oh man, what a surprise! This guy's got chops. He's got acting talent. He's got stage presence, screen presence. Like this dude is, you know, really gonna go places if he pursues this. I could see him being like the lead actor in all of Wolf Shield's films, which I think would work. And the clips that I've seen of Wolf Shield's upcoming film, or no, what did I see? I saw clips of Baby Teeth. There's a real nice clean aesthetic to it. There's for sort of like indie film, there's something there. You know what I mean? It's not like the student film. It's a film, you know. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what his plans are, or where it's going, or this or that. So I guess time will tell. Time will tell. Speaking of time, it is. I got some time. I need to. I want to kind of take a shower and get ready for bed soonly. Soonly. Okay, let's get a little of this going on in the background. Some Pink Floyd. Anybody see the movie The Wall? Pink Floyd The Wall? Yes, it's a pretty good movie, kind of trippy. That's actually well said. Um, when I was a teen and going through all my shit that I described to you earlier, um, The Wall came to a theater in in my town, and I was able to go see it on screen, and that was like a huge, huge deal to me, like a massive coming of age moment. I like how experimental movies were back then. There were a good like slew of movies like Altered States. There was I think the animated film Heavy Metal came out around that time. It was I think kind of a cool time for film. So, a little side joke on film. Uh, the friend who is coming over to do the show Wednesday on David Lynch is the same friend I had mentioned about that he hates Nosferatu and I like it. And so we're having like a film fight. And like I was watching some clips of the making of Nosferatu, and I really, really, really like the voice that Bill Skarsgård came up with for the character. You cannot tell that it's Bill Skarsgård. It's so amazing. Like it's it's just crazy. But anyway, he came up with this kind of like I guess it's like a Romanian voice that is like uses dialectic of the time of the era and like the culture, and it's so powerful. It really makes the character of Nosferatu so much more intimidating, so much more powerful. And so I was listening to these clips and I trained myself to like know how to use that accent, which is really, really cool. I have to work on it some more to do it well, but I was joking and saying, hey, should I, like, let's make a vampire film. I got the accent down now. So I'm just sort of teasing a little bit. What do we got here? Movies, yeah, a lot of cool stuff did come out back then. 70s, 80s era horror, gritty at the time. Heavy Metal was adapted from a French magazine, Metal Hurlant. I wouldn't know how to say it with a French accent, but Metal Hurlant is how I remember it. And yes, I definitely know that, because I'm Donald Kent. So. I have like magazines like that, like laying around me right now, actually, because I just love them so much. Yes, that's it. Um, so there's a little bit of Donald Kent lore. So I'm growing up in upper middle class American suburb, and the local store has comics, and I'm you know growing up on Marvel and DC comics and that kind of thing. And then how old was I? I was probably about maybe 12 years old. And you're 12 years old, you're right at that cusp of becoming a teenager. And you're starting to become sexually aware, and you're changing from, a kid into a teenager. And my dad asked me to come with him to like the drugstore across town. He had to pick up some prescriptions on me, something. And we get there, and what he would do is he'd give me $1 or $2, $3, whatever it was, and he'd say, hey, go buy a comic book, or go pick up a magazine or something. And so I went over to the magazine section, and for the first time in my life, there it was, Heavy Metal magazine. and it says right on the cover, adult entertainment. Like adults. Uh, all right, you guys ready for some nudity here? I'm gonna put this in front of you here. So, Heavy Metal magazine, 1986. And where does it? Yeah, right there. It says Adult Illustrated Fantasy Magazine. So, and there was some sexy dragon girl or something on the cover. And I was like, wow, oh my God, this is so cool. I think my voice changed right at that moment. And so I grabbed it, and I'm thinking, you know what? I don't know if my dad is gonna see. I mean, it's got a sexy monster woman on the cover, but I wonder if he'll actually see that it says like adult illustrated, because I looked inside and my mind was fucking blown. Like, I mean, I didn't know there were comics like this. I didn't know there was like essentially adult comics. And by adult, I don't mean porno. They weren't porno comics. There's definitely sexual themes and things in it, but it's more along the line of like, you know, really, really cool science fiction. Uh, that just something more profound. And then the artwork is ridiculous. Like it's not Marvel DC art. These guys. So in my mind, that made me think like, wow, this is European comics. Like Europe is so much better than America in terms of like this and people that can draw circles around like Jack Kirby and like this is real art. Not all of it is. Some of it is sort of cartoony or goofy or not quite as good. But you get people on there that are like ludicrous. Like just look at the quality of this artwork. Like that's a zillion trillion times better than fucking Spider-Man. I mean, look at how realistic that is. And so the combination of like monsters and sexy babes and all that when you're a 12-year-old boy, forget about it. I just like exploded. So like, and frankly, I've been collecting them ever since. So I've got like a pretty kick-ass collection. But the key point though is that like that was my moment to realize like European comics. This is the shit right here, man. So speaking of which, Jean Giraud, Mobius, he was one of my biggest influences. I actually do have something of his nearby. Where is it? Shite. I could probably pull that up. Oh, where is it? Come on. I can't find it. But also stuff like this. Now this is the magazine is published in America, but they would get artists from Europe and South America. And when I say South America, I mean like they're Spanish guys, not, I think you understand, like they're Spanish, and like again like sexy babes in a like the end of the world scenarios and guns and monsters and cool stuff like that. It was just so it just blew my mind. It blew my mind. The artwork was so exquisite. And I'm not, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm anywhere near these guys. Like, they're phenomenal. Yes, I follow the artists of heavy metal, yes. Still wasn't... This could actually be a good segue for me to kind of wrap up the show here, guys. I hope I wasn't too... Do you think I should delete this show because I talked about my 8th grade English teacher? I don't know, is that a bad move? What do you think? They really put so much work into it. Oh my God, dude. I mean, not only that, but just like this, the understanding of anatomy, the understanding of light and composition, storytelling. It's just like my eyes fell out of my head. I was so like, oh my God, this stuff is so freaking good. There's this Nestor Redondo, I think. I think he's from the Philippines, actually. Look at the use of the rendering and the use of the light, the composition in this piece. It's just, I'll, this is essentially what I want to do for my life. You know, it's like I want to make like really, really cool comics that are literally works of art, you know. I guess I kind of hate the word comics. I think, you know, sequential art or something is maybe the word I want to use or something, but this is incredible. Look at the background here with these beautiful silhouette trees and then the light coming through and then the texture of the water, the composition, the contrast and even just the rendering on like the trees and the leaves and it's exquisite. It's exquisite. So I don't know, pretty mind-blowing stuff. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go, guys. Gang Squad XVX is here. Greetings and salutations. What's up, Gang Squad? Maybe I'll show some more artwork or more magazines. I got them. Oh, this is. I was talking about Mobius. Okay, the Incal. So Mobius is a French cartoon artist. Weirdly, he started off and he became famous for a comic strip called Blueberry. And the odd thing about it is it was a very, very gritty American cowboy story set in the Southwest. And the artwork is highly, highly rendered, lots and lots of little sketchy lines and stuff. Whereas this is more pure. It's kind of more simple and pure. The color is one of the strong points. The story is written by Alejandro Jodorowsky, who is just a fucking madman, like a totally whacked out madman, like a creative genius, but probably a horrible person. If you see his films, you'll kind of know what I mean. But certainly a creative genius in his own right. But Mobius had a massive impact on me as a kid. When I kid, I mean like a young teenager learning to draw comics and stuff. I was like totally enamored with the Incal and anything by Mobius. I have several Mobius books actually, but these are just a couple. I'm trying to, oops, see what you guys are talking about here. You're coming at the end of the party. Yeah, I've been streaming since like 9 and I gotta go to work tomorrow, so I gotta wrap it up shortly. But since you came on, I thought I'd just hang out for a little bit more and show you some fun comics that I was inspired by. Like these environments, these really cool sci-fi environments with the machinery and the cool stuff. I just find it like really inspiring. Thanks for the show. I'm glad you appreciate it. Oh, love the Incal, yeah. Blueberry is by Mobius. That's right. Left my ass off. I didn't know. You know how comics. You know comics well. Thank you. That's on Hergé Tintin series. No. That's totally different. That's just a whole other guy with a whole other story. And Tintin is very, very much like for kid friendly, whereas a lot of what Mobius does has some very strong adult themes. Mobius actually did the design work for the first Dune movie. So the writer of Incal, Alejandro Jodorowsky, was supposed to direct the first Dune movie, and somebody made off with the there's a couple $1 million in the budget. Some fucker stole it, and then that ruined that project. They were gonna have like Mick Jagger as the lead character. It's just it was like the '70s, and it's kind of sad that like that never came to pass. But whatever. Anyway, I think I will leave you on this beautiful image. It's just sort of like Mobius's, perhaps his conception of God, with a little Pink Floyd in the background. That is a nice moment. Thoughts on Hairgate? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the question properly. Well, it's brilliant. It's not my cup of tea. I think you can look at art and say that's brilliant, but it's not my thing. So I don't mean to disappoint. I try to disappoint you there, but there you go. So that would have been the greatest movie ever for sure. Good night, all. Peace and good night. Bless you guys. Love you. See you next time on the Donald Kent Fun Time Crazy Hour.